Welcome to another episode of the Saturday Sanctuary. Happy Tuesday. Happy first college football playoff ranking Tuesday. Happy election Tuesday. Hope you guys got out and got a chance to vote and voted for the right selection. But we are here to make sure you guys are ready for college football. I am your host, K. Will.
It's your boy, GP.
It's your boy, OCEV.
And of course, like I said, we are here to make sure you guys are fully prepared, fully knowledgeable when it comes to this Saturday and every Saturday moving forward. Make sure you guys making proper bets. Make sure you guys are not getting upset when your favorite team doesn't make the college football playoff and they rank lower than you thought. You're already prepared because we already told you. Now, if you didn't listen, that's on y'all. But speaking of the college football playoff, we're going to jump right into it. ESPN went ahead and dropped the college football playoff top 12. Leading off with Oregon, of course. Then we had them, followed by Ohio State. At the 3 spot, we had Georgia. And then, of course, rounding out the top 4, we had Miami. And then at number 5, we had Texas. We had 6, Penn State. So Big Ten doing pretty well. Like to see it. Then we got Tennessee coming in at number 7. Indiana at number 8. Number 9, we got BYU. We got some people don't agree with that. But we got 10, Notre Dame. And then we got Alabama sitting at 11. I don't know if that's Nick Saban or do they feel like maybe that Georgia win is keeping them in there. But rounding off the top 12, we do have Boise State. And the first 3 out right now is SMU, Texas A&M, and LSU. And honestly, first 4 out because I think it's all needed to be said, Mississippi State. I mean, all 4 of those teams are kind of within reach.
Mississippi State.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, you wildin'.
Ole Miss. Sorry, guys. One day. Shout out to Darion Horsley, one of our AAU players. He's committed to Mississippi State. I'm speaking that to the future, baby.
Shout out, little Pop It.
So we do have Ole Miss coming in at number 16. SMU, obviously, I think they'll get in, if I'm being honest. But we got Texas A&M, LSU, Mississippi. I don't really see them doing it. Ole Miss is not doing it. I don't really see it. Mainly
Ole Miss
because
losing this weekend.
Yeah, mainly because I have them losing this weekend. But
yeah, fair enough.
I mean, but I think it needs to be said they still have a chance. Those 4 teams all still have a chance to get to their conference championship. Ole Miss probably needs the most help, but it is what it is. How are y'all feeling? More so, let's talk about those bottom 4 real quick. We'll take it in 4s. We'll talk about that bottom 4 there. Boise State, Alabama, 10 Notre Dame, and 9 BYU. How are we feeling about that? Anybody or anything you would like to change? I know we had some changes in our Saturday Sanctuary college football playoff top 12. How do you guys feel?
I think you made a really good point, bro. As you were just opening up, that UGA win for Alabama is really what's holding them there at 11, right? Because, like, in my personal 12, I didn't have Bama in my top 12. But Bama beats LSU this weekend. They're solidified to be somewhere between probably 6 and 10 in the rankings. I don't feel like Notre Dame is going to hold on. Personally, I think they probably lose a fluke game down the stretch. They might lose to USC on some fluke. Who knows? Boise State's definitely getting in. Shout out Ashton Genty and what he's doing out there. BYU probably ends up at 4, right? Unless, they don't win the Big 12, but I think they're properly ranked. I think the surprise team for me is Indiana, right? I don't think anybody projected them to be 9-0 this year. I know that's not the bottom 4, but that's kind of my quick take on it. What you think, GP?
I think that currently, when I look at these, my surprise teams would probably be SMU and Indiana more than anything. Well, SMU's not in, but Indiana more so. But SMU just being right outside the cusp.
You're surprised by that?
You said I'm. Why am I surprised by that? I just wouldn't.
You're surprised by SMU being out?
No, not being out, just being on the cusp in general. I have no problem with the rankings. I will say in terms of the Alabama point, I know everybody's probably shocked at them being 11. For being honest, they probably have the 3rd best win, maybe even the 2nd best win. It depends on how you look at them beating Georgia. I would say the 1st best win of the year is Oregon beating Ohio State. Second, in my personal opinion, is Georgia beating Texas, and then I think third has to be Alabama beating Georgia at home. I think Bama just having two losses already is just like unheard of. I think that's the only thing. So yeah,
That's real. I think I feel you on that. I have a hard time giving them that Alabama, giving Alabama that win over Georgia as a top three win, just because look at what we did in the second half, and then look at how much they resemble the second half of that game for the rest of the
Mhm.
season so far. So I have a hard time giving them credit for that, just because I hate when this happens because we have to say it. But I mean, Georgia lost the game, and then I don't really want to say Alabama won the game. They did because I mean, you had to make the plays, but at the same time, considering what happened after, y'all look way more like the second half of that game, like identical to the second half of that game in every game following
Yeah,
versus that first half. We haven't seen that first half or anything resemblance since. We haven't seen it at all.
yeah,
So it's hard for me to give them credit for that. But I do think the Georgia win is what's putting them there, because it's hard for me to think that they're giving them that credit off of talent. Do they have talent? Absolutely. It's hard for me to think that they're keeping them there off of their talent because we ain't seen the talent get put to work. So I don't really know. But while we're on that subject of our discrepancies with the college football playoff, we'll go ahead and let you guys see the Saturday Sanctuary college football playoff top 12. Got Oregon at number one, Ohio State at number two, got UGA coming in at number three, Miami at number four, University of Texas at number five, Tennessee at number six, Penn State at number seven, BYU sitting at number eight, the top Big 12 team there. And then we have Indiana coming in and Notre Dame at 10, SMU at 11, and Boise at 12. So, I mean, it's a great, I think it's an interesting top 12, especially for us, considering we have said that some of us do feel like the SEC is more superior than the Big 10. We knew Oregon was going to be good. We knew Ohio State was going to be good. We knew Penn State was going to at least make it to the Ohio State game undefeated, or they should. So we viewed it more as a three-team race. We saw early that USC was not going to be inserting themselves into the conversation. So I think it was somewhat of a surprise for Indiana to be doing what they're doing. And I actually will say, I said myself, I thought Nebraska was going to be a little better than they are, but I didn't necessarily think playoff, though. I didn't think playoff, but I thought they'd be a little better. And for the people at home, we basically just went off majority rule and went down the line. I myself, being the judge and the jury, I was the final decision for some of these, but not too many. I mean, 9 times out of 10, it was majority rule. But of course, EV and Grant, they had Indiana there. We don't have Bob and BT here. They actually wanted to keep Indiana a little higher and keep Bama out. What's your reasoning for putting Bama in there, GP? Is it based off of where you feel like they should be, or were you doing that with the mindset of where you thought the college football playoff would happen?
my mindset in this is that Bama's probably not going to lose the rest of this season. There's still an outside chance that they can make it to the SEC championship as well. Because we're in a weird situation where basically every team can end up, or like 6 teams, I believe, maybe even 7, can end up tied for the SEC championship. And I
Yeah.
believe because of certain tiebreakers, there's something crazy. There's actually a crazy scenario where Alabama and LSU can play each other again for the SEC championship. So my thought process in this is just that they probably won't lose the rest of their regular season,
Mm-hmm.
and so they're gonna get in. And if you losing, the Vanderbilt loss is nasty. Not because Vanderbilt's not good; they're a top 25 ranked team, but you did lose to Tennessee on the road. They're currently ranked top 7,
I think
so
they're
they'll
7.
probably be Let's say Tennessee loses to Georgia, they'll probably be a top 10 ranked team. It's a top 10 ranked
I don't
loss.
see them dropping them any lower. They're not going to drop them by. If they drop them behind Notre Dame, it's not going to be but one spot. That's just nasty work to me, dog. I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Part of it is probably still a little bit of bias. Obviously, Nick Saban's not there. It is a little bit of Bama bias, I think.
Yeah.
But this is also one of them situations where I think you gotta. Don't sound weird or messed up. Who do people really want to see as well, too? And
Oh, it's all
yes,
about the dollars, baby.
yeah. So obviously with a 12 team playoff, you would think that all right, you added more spots, we're gonna be more fair. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is probably one of the fairest brackets or projections I've currently seen like in a very long time. Especially like granted, because certain teams haven't lost, but like I have Indiana in here,
It's
I have BYU, I have
it's
Boise State.
also the first one. I feel like
Yeah,
the first one is usually pretty
yeah,
fair.
it's the first.
I never really remember being like what about the
Yeah,
first one.
and at the end of the day, too, it's gonna work itself out, like it always typically does. It typically does always work itself out. I think what if you're at this point with these first rankings coming out and you basically got like a month left, two things need to be on your mind. If you have one loss, don't lose again as best as you
Hmm.
can. And if you are in I would say the 9 to like 16 range, you
Yeah,
really don't need to lose because you have no leeway.
can't
You have
can't afford to.
no type of leeway for real, unless you're undefeated. And if you're undefeated and you're in the 9 to 12 range, that means that the college football committee does not trust you enough yet.
Yeah, I
So
mean, if we're looking at a team like BYU, they can lose the right game. I think they're in a position where they mess around and lose the wrong game, they're out. I think if BYU's first loss is in the Big 12 championship,
they might fringe
they
put
won't
them in
be
at
in.
11. They might put them in at 11,
I
but
think it depends on how everybody else is playing.
yeah, but it also depends on you got to think about it too. Everybody else in the Big 12 has lost as well too, and if you plan a team that has lost twice and
Yeah,
you lost in a championship, that's a nasty look. I ain't gonna hold you.
yeah.
Bro,
I
they
think
got
it's
Utah, Kansas, Arizona State, and Houston.
yeah, and they're not going to. I don't think they're going to
I
lose
don't
in
think they'll
the.
lose, but
I don't think they're going to lose in the regular season.
yeah,
They could lose in the Big 12 championship no matter who they play. I just think when it comes down to the Big 12 championship, it's just going to be different. I think whoever they go against, that's their one and only chance to get into the top 12
yeah.
is to win their conference. None of those teams are even sniffing. Who's the closest team? Iowa State sitting at 17. Like
Yeah, I think.
yeah, they're not gonna get in off a loss in the conference championship. That's not happening. I wonder where they would have been if they didn't lose last week, but we'll never know. So I think you also looking at it as I think it doesn't matter if BYU. I don't think it really matters. I don't think it matters how everybody else plays. I think BYU is out the top 12 if they don't win the champion. If they don't win the conference, I think it's unfortunate. Maybe, maybe not, but I don't think they'll be in just because they don't have any room. If we really look at it, that
Yeah.
12 spot is going to be reserved for Boise State, if not a higher one. So you really are only fighting for two spots.
Yep.
If you lose, you're not getting your spot because your spot's going to be taken. Like you're fighting for two spots. I think that's too close, especially when you're potentially losing to a number 17 or Iowa State, a number 19 Kansas State, which probably won't happen, but or a number 20 Colorado.
Yep.
You're not getting in. And then let's not God forbid, but if you are BYU, God forbid, SMU beats Miami. They're keeping Miami in,
Yeah.
and they're going to put SMU in as the conference champion in the top four.
And that's what I meant by like we're the one thing that may help BYU in that situation. Personally, Big 12 has probably been stronger than the ACC. Maybe I
Mm-hmm.
don't know a little bit. It's just been that we've said it the
It's
whole
been
year.
more
Yeah,
competition,
it's been the
more
camp
competition.
difference. Like the teams are more evenly matched.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
again, in my personal opinion, you gotta at this point we gotta start thinking about like who are the networks and who's gonna be portraying these games. Do you really think that that a network is gonna want to promote a one loss BYU? And that's no disrespect to BYU because they've been balling, bro. Like their offense is outstanding. But um, do you really think that they want to put them in over, like you just said, a potential one loss Miami, who's not a conference champion? I don't with a potential Heisman winner on their team. I don't know. I
No,
don't.
Miami's getting in unless Miami like loses and they like
They'd
one or
have to
two more
lose two.
games.
They'd have to
They'd
lose
have to
two. I don't
lose
see.
2 games, but no,
Yeah, they'd have to lose two.
Miami will get in.
Yeah, for
What
sure.
they do once they get in, it's a different story.
That's a different story. I will also want to point out a difference within us. What is the big difference between Tennessee and Penn State for y'all? Everybody, Evie and Grant, y'all had Tennessee and Penn State at different spots. Bob, BT, and Grant had Tennessee at the same spot. What made you put Tennessee higher? And then Evan, what made you put Penn State higher?
I put Tennessee over Penn State, probably because of the Bama win. I I'm this is gonna sound messed up. I don't think I can tell you what Penn State's best win is right now. Um,
USC,
That's
unfortunately,
valid. That's valid.
probably USC,
it's probably
honestly.
USC, who is unranked, but I saw
Yeah,
I
that's fair.
saw Tennessee beat Alabama, and I saw and Tennessee still has a chance to potentially beat Georgia. I don't think they'll beat Georgia, but there is a potential that they can beat Georgia, and I think they would leapfrog to the front of the SEC standings if they do that. Um, so there's essentially just a chance for them to leap even higher than what they're currently ranked. Aren't they currently sixth right now in the actual college football?
Talking about Tennessee,
Yeah,
they're at 7. Penn
seven.
State's at
Okay.
6 on there. So Evan has the correct order as
Yeah.
far as the college football playoff goes. But I just wanted to know what made you put them. Evan, what made you put Penn State above, especially after hearing Grant say, I mean, what is Penn State's best win? If it's
No, yeah, I mean
USC,
USC is definitely their best win, but I mean just looking at I look at quarterback play kind of like I would take Drew Aller over Nico right now,
Mm.
probably. From that perspective, I think Penn
are you
State.
saying that based off? What are you saying that based off of, though?
I mean, I haven't seen Nico play well, bro. Like for real, I have not seen Nico like he has not looked like an elite 11 quarterback. You know what I'm saying? To me, he has not slung the ball across the lot like he was projected to. I also think Penn State's defense is a little better than
Yeah.
Tennessee's defense, which I feel like will travel a little more. Um, so I mean, they both have what one loss for sure, but I just think Penn State's loss is a little better than Tennessee's.
I mean, I think it's definitely it's pretty much in locks that Penn State will be above Tennessee. I think they also just did that with the speaking for the college football playoff committee. I think they did that with the clear, the foreseeable future is pretty clear that at the end of the day, Tennessee's probably going to lose to Georgia. Penn State is they don't have anybody challenging them. They're not going to play in the conference championship as of right now. So it looks like they probably will, and at least they should end the season with one loss at the end of the day. Not
Also,
exactly sure what will happen though.
I'll say Penn State's probably ranked over Tennessee right now because Penn State has a better loss than Tennessee does. Tennessee lost to Arkansas, which is a
That's what I'm
nasty
saying.
loss.
Yeah,
Arkansas,
their loss is
Arkansas,
better.
yeah, their loss is much better. You lost by 7 at home. Even you should have. I'm not saying you should have won, but there was a chance you could have won
They
with
left a
a
lot of
little.
points on the table
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, they really
Yeah,
did.
absolutely. And I think they're holding the Arkansas loss against them also because again recency bias, like we talked about earlier with Ohio State. Arkansas just got dragged by Ole Miss. They just got skull dragged by 30
Uh,
points. So I think it just doesn't help. But I think with if any conference, the phrase "matchups matter" means the most is probably the SEC because we're all pretty, we all are kind of physical and this, that, and the third, but all of our teams are pretty different at the end of the day, and it really matters what your matchup is. But we'll go ahead and move forward from here with the college football playoff. Going on to the big games we have this week. All right, so we got a big weekend coming up, mainly for the SEC teams. We have Alabama going to LSU. We have UGA going to Oxford, Mississippi to take on Ole Miss for the first time in a long time. Two big games that will mean a lot to the SEC. And I think we'll know a lot about who's going to the conference championship after this game, if I'm being honest. We'll go ahead and start off with UGA going to Ole Miss. Like we said, UGA has not been to Oxford in quite some time. How are you guys feeling if you were to be an Ole Miss fan? I'll say, actually, what do you want to see your team do going into the game if you are an Ole Miss fan to win that game? Obviously, it's their season on the line.
Um, I guess I'll pop it off. I probably want to see Jackson Dart continue to have a good game, decent season. He's had some games where he's thrown for like well over 350 plus yards. I think
Mm-hmm.
shoot last game they just had like they put up 60 something points on Arkansas, I believe, correct?
Yep.
So you probably
They
just want
almost
to
had
see
700 yards of offense in total.
yeah. So you probably just want to see the offense continue to do its thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if Trey Harris is available, I can't remember if he played last game or not, but if he's available, you probably want to see him be able to come back if he's able to play. because
He wasn't. He wasn't available last week.
yeah. So I guess you're hoping that he plays this week because he's a huge factor for
Mm-hmm.
them. He's like number 3 in the country in receiving, which is crazy. Easily the leading receiver in the SEC right now as well, with over 900 yards and like 6 touchdowns. Defensively, probably want the front four to really try to get after Carson Beck to see if you can still um, cause some pressure because as we've known these past couple of weeks, Carson under pressure, he's prone to mistakes, and him being prone to mistakes will probably be more that's helpful for Ole Miss to pulling up the upset.
That's
Yeah, I
real.
mean, to piggyback off that, I really if you're Ole Miss, you got to start fast, right? Like
Yep.
you put up a lot of points. When UGA gets behind the 8 ball, like in the Alabama game, right? They fought back, right? But you know what I'm saying, they had to crawl out of a hole. Ole Miss's defense by the numbers is top 3, top 4 in the SEC with points allowed. So if you're an Ole Miss fan, if you can get a lead, you're kind of comfortable with, you know what I'm saying, your defense, you know what I'm saying, plus and playing because Carson going to turn that over. He going to throw a pick or two because he's going to force something if they're down early, right? So if you're an Ole Miss fan, you want to see your offense come out and be the offense that you've seen 85% of the season, right? Like that's what you want to see. From a defensive side of the ball, I'll just piggyback off Grant said, get home on him because UGA's skilled players, there's not Lad's not walking through that door and Brock Bowers not walking through that door. So it's a little different. Now I like Bell, I like, you know what I'm saying, 6, he got a little wiggle to him, stuff like that. But if you can get to Beck and if Jackson can look like GP's favorite quarterback from the first 5 weeks of the season, then Ole Miss is cooking and UGA is in trouble.
Yeah, I feel that. But I do think we've also just seen Ole Miss. They just turn right back into pumpkin often. But
Bro,
of
you
course, we'll see.
said pose this from if we're an Ole Miss fan, not
No,
reality.
yeah,
You said
Evan.
Ole Miss fan. I'm just
I'm
saying.
aware.
I'm just
But I
saying.
mean, we've seen that happen. But Carlos, if you were, of course, we're watching this game. Let's just say UGA wins the game. What did Ole Miss do wrong? What do we think happened?
Um, I think if UGA wins the game, I mean, I think UGA can win the game without Ole Miss doing anything wrong. But I think if Ole Miss wants a chance to win this game, I think defensively they have to step up more than they have against teams like Kentucky and LSU for sure. I mean, that loss to LSU was just ugly. They should have won that game. They never should have. They should have never lost that game. I don't think Jackson Dart plays bad. So I don't necessarily say you want more from your offense if you're Ole Miss. You just want consistency. Um, Consistency, and then you want your defense to step up. If your defense doesn't step up, you don't win this game.
That's true. I will
Ole
give
Miss
you
is
that.
such an enigma because they've had situations where they have beat the brakes off of South Carolina, you beat the brakes off of Arkansas, but you're losing at home to Kentucky, and you're losing to LSU in OT.
Oh,
The
man.
LSU one I can understand kind of like that's at night, that's it in Death Valley, but like losing at home to Kentucky makes not a lick of sense. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I think some of their wins have even been deceiving. I mean, that South Carolina win, they only beat them by 24. Sounds like a big deal, but they scored 24 in the first 2 quarters, and then they didn't take their starters out. They just could not score again. South Carolina didn't have their quarterback situation together. They couldn't score. Their offense just wasn't together yet. I feel like.
But
Um,
in credit to them, South Carolina's defense was pretty
Yeah,
fucking good.
I said
No, South Carolina's defense is pretty good. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, we've seen them go cold. I mean, I think it is hard to see an Ole Miss team, or I personally don't feel like it's hard to see because, like I said, they tend to go pumpkin. So it's nothing surprising to me to see them beat Arkansas by 30 points and put up 63 on them. And I look back, LSU, y'all only scored 20 something. South Carolina, granted, in a win, only 27. Kentucky, 20 something. It's like they can easily go put up 60, and then the next week you see them put up 21. 21, 24, none of that is probably beating UGA at all.
Is Lane calling plays?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's always calling the plays,
So
dog.
that's on Lane, folks.
The thing that kills me about Lane in big games sometimes, and this isn't to talk BS or anything like that. When it comes to those big games, Lane almost does a little bit too much.
Exactly.
Sometimes, especially when it's like crunch time. So like we've seen it. We saw it last year. He had an opportunity to upset Bama, and he's going for it on fourth down in his own territory and whatnot. And it's just like, bro, like, why are you doing that?
Punt the ball.
It's Lane Kiffin, though. I
Yeah,
think.
it's like it's. Oh God,
I don't know. I never really see it as him doing too much. I think it's just him being consistently himself. Like I don't think it's in the big games he does too much. I think we would, for some reason, we would like to see him be different in the big games. It's like, why are we expecting? I think it's on us. Why are we expecting him to be anything other than what he's shown us he's going to be?
Oh, we know what's going to happen on Saturday, bro.
So I mean, he's going to go for fourth. He's gonna go for it on fourth. It is what it is. I think that's exactly what got them in trouble last year against us. I think it will get them in trouble this year. I think they will potentially, depending on what those fourth downs look like, they may get a few more of those than they did last year. But I don't know. We'll see.
He started out hot actually last year against us. I think they scored.
No, they started off good. I think they got the first touchdown, obviously, and it was basically all runs.
Yeah, it was 14-14. I think, and then
Quinshawn was going crazy.
Yeah, and then we clamped down, and it ended up being 52-14, which is
the first.
That's what I see happening, bro. Like,
honest to God, that was Carson's, in my personal opinion, that was probably his best game.
Yeah, it for sure was. It definitely was. That was the interesting part about this.
He went crazy.
No, that's real. And we'll actually move in around this topic off with what does Carson need to do? Can Carson even get it together? I mean, do y'all believe that Carson's going to turn it around on Saturday?
Throw the ball to his team.
Yeah, honestly, just don't turn the ball over. Funny statistic though, the UGA actually puts up more points when he throws picks. When he's throwing picks this year than when he doesn't. We average 34.5 points when he's thrown a pick. We average 31.5 points when he does not throw a pick.
Man, that don't got nothing to do with it. I think that just shows furthermore we just continue to not really see our full capability because we always stay around the same point range.
Yeah, but I don't say the thing is at the end of the day, don't turn the ball over. Period. Like if you don't turn the ball over, we're more than likely going to put points on the board. I would say it's very rare that we stall out. Basically,
can he get some easy completions, bro? Because he like a home run hitter, bro. I don't get it.
I think he has easy.
That's all he does is easy completions, bro.
He has
all I see is slants and
Nah,
and then the receivers do the rest. That's what I see when I watch Georgia game.
Nah.
That's just me though. I also think
you're saying all the way around.
He needs to be Carson Beck and stop thinking he's Josh Allen or Cam Newton or whoever the hell arm he thinks he has because he does not have the power.
Putting the cape on. He said he put the cape on.
When y'all were playing Florida, I'm watching the game and I'm like, Trey is sitting in the living room. He's just like, what is he looking at? Like, what kind of throw is that? And I'm watching the receiver slant, and I'm like, okay, I see what he sees. Yeah. What made him think he was gonna get that ball there in that there was receiver slanting, safety over top in the back, linebacker here, cornerback here. Yeah, space is here. The space is there.
If he was Cam Newton,
right? If he was Cam Newton or Josh Allen, that pass probably gets in that pocket.
I'll give you Josh Allen. I'll give you Josh Allen, but not Cam.
How strong Cam Newton is.
Nah,
it wasn't a strength. That wasn't supposed to be a strength throw. You had to put some touch to get that in that center, which he has done before. It's just
the touch was there.
Huh?
The touch was there.
We're talking about
the power wasn't there.
Yeah, his arm's actually pretty strong, but I will say this year he definitely is trying too hard to throw into tight window throws. Like last year, I wouldn't say previous years, but like last year, the guy would be a little bit more open, or he would throw to the spot as opposed to.
Yeah, he was throwing to the spot a lot of times. I feel like
because there's like the best throw personally I recall him making last year. We play in Kentucky. He's throwing to Marcus Rosemy Jackson, and he throws a deep crosser, and Marcus is literally like 5, maybe 7 yards away from the ball, but he runs and the ball lands literally right in his hands. He in stride and keeps running for a touchdown. And I was like, that's probably his best throw. He layered it over the linebacker, threw it in front of the safety, and the cornerback is trailing Marcus and can't catch it or whatever. But a beautiful throw.
Yeah, that's real. I think we're giving too much credit to Carson by saying, or to his decision making by saying he's been trying to fit things into tiny windows. I think there is no window in a lot of these interceptions he's throwing. The ball. I don't care who you are. There is no reason to make that throw. Yeah. Most of these interceptions are dumb. They're actually just inexcusable. Doesn't matter what the power of your arm is, or the accuracy that you have. A lot of these throws just shouldn't even be thrown. If we talking about last week, not the Hail Mary, but that throw to the sideline, I think that was London Humphreys. What are you doing? I don't care who's over there. What are you doing it for? It wasn't fourth down. It wasn't this. It wasn't that. What are you doing it for, bro? What's the point of it? I think those are the biggest things. And, I mean, people want to talk about Lab, Brock. Honestly, I don't really give it credit to that. It's just simply he's making bad decisions that we have not seen him make all of last year. He made way better decisions, and the biggest thing about him last year was the fact that we felt like he was always going to keep the ball safe. He wasn't going to turn the ball over like that. Yeah. Talking about somebody that had 5 total interceptions last year, and now you're sitting at, what, 11?
11.
No. Yeah.
Yes, what, three pick games?
Yeah,
just crazy. I think he's got to take what the defense gives him. I know that's like easier said than done. That's what I'm talking about. Easy completions, check downs, maybe scramble for a 5 yard slide. I don't know, but he got to stop throwing the ball into double coverage. Like, he consistently throws the ball into double coverage.
Yeah, that's true.
From what I see.
But moving on here. Just real quick, we'll go ahead and make our early picks here on the game. And also, who do y'all feel like is going to be the X factor in the game if the team that you pick wins? We'll go with you, GP.
What's the spread?
Spread's 2.5 Georgia's worth.
Oh, wow.
It's dropped heavily since what happened this past weekend.
I figured it would. I got Georgia, but I got money line, I guess. Which I guess was it. Really
You're picking Georgia.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Georgia. X factor. The D line from Georgia. I actually don't see the offense necessarily. Actually, take that back. Carson Beck and the D line. I'm gonna put faith in Carson. The only reason I'm gonna say that, I do think Ole Miss's D line is like really good with pressure. I just think he's gonna step up finally and figure some shit out.
That's real. Carlos, who you got? Well,
fuck that nigga. We going with Ole Miss.
Of course.
I can't stand Carson Beck. I hate Carson Beck. I am a hater. Because y'all be gassing this man, and I just don't think he's an elite quarterback, bruh. And I don't know what y'all think he going to figure out. Carson Beck is who Carson Beck is, bruh. It's not Carson Beck.
How is this Carson Beck, but last year wasn't Carson Beck? Why do we get to decide that these last 5 games is really him, but the last 10, 12 games we saw last year wasn't him at all?
You realize he has 2 L's as a starter, right?
Brother, I've said the same thing about Carson Beck since he started playing this game of football.
I mean, but there was no proof in the pudding.
I never said Carson Beck was good. I always said the team around him is good. He throws to open receivers because y'all receivers were open last year.
He's always done by unfortunately.
Show me one contested play from a Georgia receiver from last year.
One? Are we serious right now? But hey, man, we'll do that on our own time. We'll do that on our own time. So he's going Ole Miss. And are you basically saying Ole Miss is going to win because Carson is going to be the X factor of that win?
What's the?
It's 2.5.
2.5 for y'all. Y'all, obviously, right?
Yeah.
I'm actually personally shocked that we're.
That's a trap game.
Huh?
Really.
Now he's shocked. Bro, come on, bro. What are we talking about? You're shocked y'all favorite? You're the number 3 team in the country.
Bro.
What?
I'm not shocked that we're favored, but it's not a
miss, bro.
I'm not shocked that we're favored, but it's not a trap game.
Crazy.
That's not a trap game.
Calling that a trap game is crazy. And actually, they low-key may have just did us a favor ranking us 3 because Kirby going to light into all that shit.
Thinking it's not a trap game is crazy. Y'all are the number 3 team in the country, and the spread's only 2.5?
They
A
are
trap,
ranked in the
a
top
trap
15.
game would mean that we'll probably take it light. Like, why
Who
would
have they
we take this
played?
light?
Y'all were more of a trap game, in my
Who have
opinion.
they played and compared to you guys?
It doesn't matter. It's Ole Miss.
With Lane Kiffin, we know he can throw. We
We're
know
in
he
it on the road.
Okay, I mean,
All right.
we know he gonna put up points. In our
who is Ole Miss?
secondary.
Who is Ole Miss playing?
Let's get
Because
some opposition.
y'all energy was much more different playing against Texas, and it was who has Texas played? Who is now it's fuck
That
who
wasn't
Texas
about-
played?
that
Fuck
wasn't
who Ole Miss played.
us.
They're Ole Miss. They're Ole Miss. Like it's not a trap game. They're Ole Miss. They're the greatest team ever. Of course, that's not a trap game.
But I think
Like,
you're definitely delusional if you feel like anybody is looking past Ole Miss. I think that's what a trap game is. You're in a position to look past who you're playing. We only have two.
no, that's not what a trap game is.
Yes, it is.
No, it's
Trap game.
not.
A trap game is a team that you're absolutely overlooking. Like I said, Florida is.
Why would we overlook Ole Miss?
Nobody's overlooking Ole Miss, bro. They have Lane Kiffin.
Is
They're
Lane
not
Kiffin
overlooking them, but let's be real though. Like Ole Miss has a high-powered offense. All that, it's cool. They put up 63 last week, and they gonna lay an egg this weekend.
You have to make them lay an egg. They don't just come out and just.
Oh, I didn't
Not
say
good.
obviously it's not. But like, come on, bro.
Yeah, it's not. There's in no way, shape, or form is anybody overlooking Ole Miss, dog.
I ain't gonna
And
lie.
considering the
Y'all
fact
lose.
that
I don't know
Y'all
where
lose to
you
Ole Miss,
guys.
I'm gonna be looking at y'all a little funny in the light.
I don't know where you guys get your definition of trap game from, but at the casinos, that is not how a trap game works. For you guys to be the number 3 team in the country, going against the number 16 team in the country, and for there to only be a spread of 2.5, a team who hasn't played anybody worth talking about, they've only beaten LSU, and they've lost to LSU and Kentucky. We're talking about a 2-loss team that's ranked 16, and y'all have a 2.5 spread favorite towards y'all. And we're saying this isn't a trap.
How is it? Are you saying it's a trap for people that are betting, or is it a trap for Georgia? Because maybe we're saying two different things. If you're saying betting, cool, but it's not a trap game for Georgia. They not overlooking them.
It's just weirder energy when we had the conversation about Texas, and it was completely different.
No, because we can run the tape back. I said I don't know how we're going to win, but I know we're just gonna have to figure it out and win. Because I didn't know how we was gonna beat.
We're leaving out the.
He definitely did say that.
Who has Texas played? Texas ain't beat nobody.
That never came out of my mouth.
All of y'all said that, bro. All of
Okay.
y'all were saying it, bro.
You did say they hadn't played nobody.
Yeah, they haven't played anybody, and we were talking about them as far as the season. People, we were talking about what's going to happen. What's this? What's that?
So what are we talking about with Ole Miss? What, bro?
You know what I'm gonna be honest with you. You know what it was at the time.
It's early in the year. We played somebody, and we look shaky.
Texas is.
Who has Ole Miss played?
Texas. Ole Miss had played Kentucky.
They played some good SEC teams.
And I'm saying to that point,
And lost.
Hold on, hear me out. Through the first 6 weeks, to that point, Ole Miss had already lost to Kentucky, who at the time had a really good defense, and then they beat the brakes off of South Carolina.
Who just sat here and beat Texas A&M, the only undefeated team. So it's, and again, matchups. SEC is about matchups. We're gonna have to move on, but it's about matchups, dog. What is our weakness right now? Our fucking offense. And what does Ole Miss have? A fucking offense. So guess what we probably need to do? Score some goddamn points. It's not a trap game, bruh.
Texas A&M wasn't
UGA
undefeated, so that's too much credit.
Texas A&M was undefeated.
They lost to Notre Dame at the beginning of the season.
They're undefeated in conference play.
We're talking about conference play.
They were
Ain't
undefeated.
nobody worried about that. They don't even have the team that looked like the team they played against Notre Dame. They didn't have the quarterback or any of that. But go ahead, Evie, so we can move on.
Yeah, I got UGA covering. I think Nate Frazier's going to have a breakout game. He got chewed out for no reason, in my opinion. Throw slash a little crazy for sure. But I think
It's
he'll
a
bounce.
penalty.
Yeah, I think he'll bounce back. I think he'll have 2 big runs, and all of RBU will be happy with him. So yeah, I think that'll be a thing. I don't really see. I see Jackson Dart being scared, and I see Lane Kiffin trying to do too much. I think it's the same old Ole Miss. They play well when it's time to play a big game, home or away against certain schools. They overthink it, and it'll show. I think it'll be closer than what people think, but I got probably like 31-25 7-28, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, I dig that. I'm gonna obviously go Georgia. They're definitely gonna cover, but I think it's all based on Carson Beck. Carson Beck has to play great, or at least good. He
He
can't
doesn't have
turn
to
the ball
play.
over.
He doesn't have to play great. He just
He
needs to
has to
not
play
turn the
good.
ball over.
He has
Because
to make smart decisions. Carson Beck needs to be the Carson Beck that we are used to seeing and that we know he is, which is just simply make the smart play. I mean, Carson Beck, he's the only quarterback that I've seen throw the ball away, and it's just like, bro, it got to the point where it's like, hey, bro, like, come on now, do something. But it's like, I mean, he's making the smart play. This year, I think he's pressing again. Wants to be. I mean, he came out publicly, not in a crazy way, but just saying his goal was to win the Heisman, be on the Heisman list.
That is
I
so
think he's been
cool.
pressing. He's been trying to do that. Don't try to do that. All we need you to do, baby, is make good plays,
So cool.
and we're good. You're on the Heisman watch list last year, bro, and you really didn't. I mean, we lost against Bama, so it's like
Cool.
we beat Bama. Bro might have been in New York just off the simple fact that he made smart plays and Georgia was winning. Same reason Stetson Bennett was there.
Let's please stop throwing this name next to Heisman.
Yeah, because
I mean,
I ain't gonna lie, I
all I
laughed
said,
the whole
yeah,
time.
I know you're a hater, but all I
It's a
said,
long, it's a long list of niggas in front of Carson
Bro.
Beck before we talk about him for Heisman.
Hey, bro, he might drive by that on his own, but he ain't gonna be in New York, boy.
I think y'all are hard of hearing per
If
usual.
Carson get a
Said
Heisman,
last
No, you
year,
said it.
I mean,
No, you said this year one of his goals was to win the Heisman.
that was his goal. What does that have to do with anything else? That was his goal, and that's the reason why we're probably seeing the Carson that we're seeing. He has to get himself together and do what he's done more often than not. I mean, 11 interceptions is a lot, but
he also lost 2 wide receivers, one before the season and then one mid-season
during the season, yeah,
issues.
it's a lot. But at the end of the day, we've seen you figure it out. So
wait a minute.
I knew this was coming. I knew it was coming. I knew it. I like GP. I know why he said that.
Niggas was
boy.
talking about Heisman Carson Beck last year with Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, shit, Bo Nix, Michael Penix. That nigga had a list to go.
we didn't say he was gonna win it, bro. He was literally on the list. We didn't say win.
He was
All
down that list.
I said was you were on the list last year and you didn't really do anything significant besides win.
Yeah.
That's all I said. Don't let your hating ears fool you, bro. All I said was he was on the list and he didn't do anything significant. So all we need you to do is the same thing you always do.
List?
Huh?
I'm being funny. I said, would
That's
DJ
all.
Lagway ever be on the list?
That was
Yes.
that was a long list.
Yes.
That was a long list. He wasn't even top 5. I don't even think he's
DJ will be on the list, fool.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
DJ
But
coming to
moving
Old
on.
State. That's why.
Of course, we have another big SEC game here. Alabama going to LSU. This is basically the game for each of these teams' season. Whoever loses, they're pretty much done for the season as far as the college football playoff hopes go. Whoever wins, I will low-key say they probably are a lock for it, maybe. I think also whoever wins this game, the best position for them is to win this game and to not go to the conference championship, because if they take another L, it'll look bad on their behalf. But we'll go ahead and start off with the quarterbacks. Of course, we got Jalen Milroe. We got Nussmeier. Who are you guys taking in this matchup? Who's going to have the better performance? We'll start with you, Evie.
I got Alabama winning the game, so I will take Jalen Milroe. I think he's gonna go on the road, be able to be the dual threat superstar that he is. Nussmeier definitely think will be able to sling the rock. But Alabama's DBs will probably put a little clamp down on that. But I'll take Jalen Milroe. He's played in more big games, in my opinion, so I think it will definitely benefit him in this moment. And I know Alabama wants to get in the playoff, and they know if they lose this game, it's a wrap for them. So I think Alabama goes into Death Valley and makes it real quiet.
I feel that. GP, who are you taking out of those two quarterbacks?
I'm really having to think.
Because Nussmeier been slanging that guy.
The thing is, they're two different types. Like, Bama needs Milroe to be on point. I don't necessarily think LSU needs Nuss to be as on point, for real. If that makes sense.
Are you saying, when you say on point, Are you talking about having a great game, or are you talking about accuracy? Because
I think Nuss can be above average and LSU can still win. I don't necessarily know if Jalen Milroe can be above average and Bama wins the game
mm,
per se.
I understand that based off the run game we've seen.
Yeah, and it's not even because Bama can't run the ball. Like they just don't run the ball like they should. Like you probably need more Justice Haynes and more Jam Miller.
I
Honestly,
think also at this point in the season, we kind of at some point we got to kind of lose the notion that that people can't do something, and it's just
yeah,
they're not doing it, or is this that and the third. I feel like at this point, like
yeah. Also,
you are who you are.
here's my big point to it as well. Outside of Ryan Williams, who else do you fear on Alabama's offense besides Jalen Milroe? Like we're not, I'm not including him. I actually think he's the most feared weapon on the Bama offense, but
Nobody.
Absolutely.
nobody, right? But I'd say LSU.
That's two people. That's Jalen and Milroe.
Okay, but LSU,
That nigga's a beast.
I would say there's Kyron Lacey, there's Aaron Anderson, you got Mason Taylor. I don't really think they run the ball the best, but like you got three weapons one at tight end, two at receiver,
Yeah,
and I'm missing another dude that's pretty solid. But
I
essentially, what
think
I'm
Kendrick
saying is,
Law. I mean, I think they should use Kendrick Law more. I think he was pretty dependable, but I mean,
yeah,
maybe. I mean, at the end of the day, we're not there during practice. I
yeah.
don't know.
The point I'm making is, I feel like Nuss can trust his receivers more than Jalen probably can, which
Yeah,
causes
I
Jalen
thought
to
you know.
probably get into more hero ball situations. So I guess
you're gonna
Jalen.
take Nussmeier.
I,
Are you taking Jalen?
I, it's hard. It's because I think he's a better player, but like he has to do more. So he has to have a good game for them to win.
So you got them winning.
Basically, they basically in Brian Denny West. I ain't gonna hold you, but it's the fact that it's at night is killing me a little bit too. I say Bama wins because I have them in the playoff, and I think they'll be in desperation mode.
I'll tell you, Los.
I got Bama winning. I don't think LSU is that good of a team. Um, I also I don't think defensively they have what it takes to stop them. Um, because it's going to be hard to contain Jalen Milroe. First of all, we all know that. I don't think they've even played a quarterback comparable to Jalen Milroe athleticism at
I
that.
don't
And
think
I
there
think
is one.
Nah, there's
I also
not
don't
one.
think defensively. Well, they play. Or no, okay, no, he's not.
You talking about
Taylor
South
Green.
Carolina?
No, I was gonna say Taylor Green, but he's not. He doesn't have.
Two
Taylor doesn't
different
have the
kind of.
weapons. Yeah, he doesn't have the same weapons around him, and the same line for sure. But outside of that, other than Texas A&M, I mean, I'm not the most sold on Ole Miss's defense. They played South Carolina early, so I can't really say their defense was going crazy then. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they've. I think Alabama has tightened up their defense a little bit, so I think they play a little bit better this week. So, um, yeah, I'm going with Alabama. Take them to cover the -3 also.
Sheesh, that man said I'm early with it. I mean, I do feel like I agree with y'all's points. Jalen definitely has to have a good game for them to win. There's no way around that. If Jalen doesn't have a good game, there is absolutely no way they're even in the game if he doesn't have a good game. I think Nussmeier, I think he can't play sloppy. I think he has to have a good game too. I think it's just different. I think they both have to have equally good games if their team's going to win. I think Nussmeier has an easier time having a good game considering the type of weapons that he has up there. He can honestly throw it up to either one of those guys, and he's in a good position. If we're being 110% honest, LSU is always going to have some weapons outside. I mean, Kyron Lacey, he's a dog. I just don't. I don't even know who's going to be guarding him out there. If I'm being 100% honest. Um, and I mean, what's their tight end? Mason Taylor, bro. You're like, it's not looking good as far as their matchup on the defense. I think if anything, Alabama's defense is the issue. I think Alabama offense. I think they'll score points against LSU's defense. I think they'll do pretty good against LSU's defense. I think Nussmeier might just make a fool of Alabama's defense.
I was gonna say the thing that makes this such an interesting matchup is like in years past when they match up, LSU typically doesn't have a quarterback to try to win his game. But the last couple of matchups they've had, you've had Joe Burrow,
Jaden
um,
Daniels.
Jaden Daniels. Shoot, last year Jaden Daniels got hurt, I believe, and they were winning until he got hurt
Oh
again,
yeah.
and then
Mm-hmm.
and then he got hurt, and
Did
Bama just
somebody
turned
say
it on.
Jaden Daniels?
Oh,
MVP Jaden Daniels.
Oh, brother. Anyway, and like I said, Nuss is. I'm not saying he ain't no Heisman contender or nothing, but Nuss can throw the ball, and he can keep up in a shootout if need be.
yeah.
That's true.
I mean, he has the weapons to keep up in the shootout
Yeah,
too.
exactly. He has the weapons too.
I mean, it's just been interesting that usually LSU has the defense going into this game. Alabama usually has a better defense, definitely than what they have right now. It's usually more of a defensive matchup. I think this could end up being a high-scoring offensive game. If I'm being honest, LSU's defense is not hitting on it, but I also just feel like Alabama's defense ain't hitting on nothing either. And maybe Nussmeier, some people feel like he's the best quarterback in the SEC, maybe due to lack of competition or lack of consistency from the quarterback position this year. But he ain't that good, but his weapons are. So I think it's gonna be a high scoring game. I'm gonna actually take. I think Jalen Milroe has a better game than Nussmeier, but I think LSU wins. I got LSU winning. LSU's gonna win, and I don't know how. They probably gonna end up in the conference championship with all this crap going on.
Ooh, LSU.
Yeah,
I don't know. I still think it'll.
brother.
I actually think it'll come down because they lost to A&M. I think it'll come down to the winner of A&M and Texas.
oh yeah, because I'm
Or the
tripping. LSU already got two on them.
Yeah, LSU. Again,
And
this is a playoff elimination game
yeah,
for LSU or Alabama. Whoever
because
loses
the
this
only
game
way they make it
gets
in
this
is if
bye.
A&M would have to. I mean, Texas will have to lose, and then A&M will have to lose to Texas.
You
So,
ain't
yeah,
getting in with 3 losses, player.
I don't think you're getting in with 3 losses either. But you're also, if you win this game, you have a better chance of making the SEC championship and potentially getting a top 4 seed.
For
I
sure.
think they're not going to make it. The best thing they can do is not make the conference championship though, because they're not. I don't see them beating. I don't see them beating Georgia, but I don't. I wouldn't even want to be in the position to find out if I'm LSU. Like you can play rah rah, go my team all you want to. I'll sit at home. Like I'll just sit at home with my 2 losses and see y'all in the playoff. Versus me going, oh, I can get a top 4 seed, or I could be out the playoff altogether. So I'm gonna just stay at home and with my 2 losses, and I'll see y'all in the playoffs. So hopefully, for their sake, they don't end up there. But I'm gonna go ahead and take LSU. I think they'll win by. If seven's a comfortable margin, I got them winning by. I got them winning by a little less than that. I'll give it a. I think they'll win by a field goal. I think it might be. I think it's gonna be tight, but I think it's gonna be high scoring. I don't think. I don't know what the over under is. I'll actually look real quick, but I'll probably take the over on it
Oh, wait,
if it's not nothing crazy. The over under right now is sitting at. The over under is sitting at 58.5. That's tight.
Taking it under.
I'm going to take the under on that one.
These niggas is not that
That's
good.
tight. I think. I don't think it's about them being that good. I just don't think that. I think the defenses are. They are not typically that bad, but I think they can play that bad. Especially Alabama. I think LSU might have a little more juice at the crib. This could just turn into an old-fashioned defensive game out of nowhere, just out of the spirit of Alabama versus LSU. But we'll see.
Boy, this ain't 20.
Hey man,
If they score over 50 points, it'll be like 55 max.
you think so? I mean, I can see
55, man.
I can see them both going into the 30s, but I mean, I can also easily see it not happening. And we can talk about it not being 2011. What happened with Auburn and Alabama just last year, bro? Like a lot of stuff, a lot of weird stuff happens in these rivalry games, in these big games, bro. I'm not throwing it out the window. I don't think it's gonna happen because I think the defenses are that bad.
That weird stuff is gonna be good
20.
defenses from both of these teams.
What did you
That's
say?
what I'm saying. Huh?
You said the over. I'm sorry. You said the over under is what?
58.5.
58. It's gonna be like a 28-24 game, bro.
Tell you.
I feel like that's. I
55 max.
feel like that's too. Well, no.
It could be
That's
34.
52.
It could be 34-28. You still ain't covered.
I don't. I don't think either one of them teams dropping 30.
Huh?
Respectively. I don't.
I think it.
Bro. That
Yeah,
quarter
you're
black,
tripping.
that quarter black and Jalen Melrose, he can put up 30 points.
Bro,
Because
I
I'm not
don't.
gonna lie,
I don't think he's the one putting up 30 points. Now.
Alabama and
they're
Georgia
putting up
game was
30.
supposed to be nowhere near that high. If y'all didn't get
Yeah.
dropped off in that first half like y'all did, it would not have been that high at all.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't even think I actually think. Yeah, if we wasn't having to come back being down 30-7.
Yeah, that first quarter.
Yeah, if y'all didn't give up that many points
and
early, it would
turn the
never have
ball
been that
over.
high scoring of a game.
And we have 4 turnovers and still put up 34 points.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, the UGA Bama game isn't comparable to anything besides the second half. The second half is the only thing relevant to Alabama season right now. But that's why I say I think their defense is that bad. I think no, Gary Nussmeier is not the greatest quarterback. He's definitely good, and his weapons are above average. So that's what I'm saying. I can see them putting up 30. I don't see Jalen Milroe in that offense putting up 30 just because, like we talked about earlier, they don't have a balanced offense. Jalen Milroe is the run game, and that has not been fooling anybody as of late. So, I mean,
Hey, you want to know the last time Alabama? Well, they just put up 30 on Missouri, but Missouri stinks. Truthfully,
believe.
they do.
I say the only way this happens is if they let what Texas A&M do happen again.
Yeah.
And I also don't see, if Alabama's playing that good, I don't see them defensively giving up that many points to LSU.
Yeah, well, Bama's defense actually played really good against Mizzou last week, and they played decent. I'm gonna be honest, they actually played decent against Tennessee until the last fourth quarter or so when.
I mean, it was a shutout game. Pretty good is a crazy statement. They played fucking.
I mean, you gave up 24 points. That's not bad. That ain't.
No, I was talking about Alabama against.
Talking about Alabama.
Oh yeah,
he was like pretty good. I'm like, I mean, it was a shutout. I would say they were pretty fucking excellent.
Yeah, but then you gave up.
Scoring at the end of the day is.
Yeah, I would say your hope, if you're a Bama fan, is that you continue what you did against Missouri and that you cleaned up through the bye week. You come out fresh off a bye week into this LSU week, ready to put belt to ass. But you also, it's gonna be loud. You know it's gonna be loud. Your playoff, both teams are desperate at this point too. Like that's something I think is like very uncommon because usually this would be like the SEC CBS game of the year. Like this would be the only game that would be at night on CBS, and both of these teams typically would have like one loss or they'd be undefeated going into this game.
I think they still are usually desperate. I think it's just a different disparity now because usually it's like, all right, I'm about to get left out of 4. You about to get left out of 12 teams because you was messing around all year. That's embarrassing. So I feel like that's why it's a little more desperate than usual because it's like, all right, I mean, it's you want to make that top 4, but I mean, it's no shame in that. It's only 4 teams. I mean, it's plenty of shame for Brian Kelly if you can't even make the top 12 teams. And since you've been here, we ain't did nothing but got to the SEC championship and got spanked by Georgia. Like
I just want to say, in the old days, the fact that Bama would have been out of the playoff conversation before November would have been nuts.
Oh, you know.
That would have been fucking nuts.
It's crazy. I don't think this ever would have happened with I don't think this ever would have happened with Nick Saban though. I mean, we've seen it. We saw last year they were out until they weren't, and all of a sudden we look up and they're in it.
That's because they lost to Texas.
Yeah,
week 2, and Texas ended.
And then they were looking bad, almost lost to UCF, and so on and so on. And then, I mean, somehow, some way, they made a way. I mean, they got a lot of help from the other teams last year nobody was really too flawless last year except for Michigan. But we'll go ahead and wrap that up, and that's pretty much it. Y'all got any last? Hold on, wait. Evan, did you make your pick?
Yeah, I got.
Okay.
I got Bama. Yeah.
You got Bama. The spread is sitting at 3. Y'all going spread or y'all going? What y'all going? Just to keep track of our good records here.
I'll go money
line. Bama covers. If you said the spread is 3, I'll say Bama covers. Like I said, 28-24. Alabama.
So you got them winning by a touchdown? Oh, you said 28-24. Oh, okay. All right.
I got a whole little parlay. I got
Evan, you going to cover on the 3 too?
No, I take money line. I think they will cover, but
You gonna take money line?
I'll take Bama.
I'm gonna take my +3 with LSU.
I'm gonna take BYU money line. I'm gonna take Alabama -3. I'm gonna take Oregon. Oh, Oregon money line would be high as hell. I'm gonna take the under in that Georgia game, and I'm gonna take We might as well just add them all in there. Throw me Clemson money line. They gotta win. Ooh. I was about to say give me Florida spread, but we don't got a quarterback no more. I like Michigan oddly to cover that +14 against Indiana.
Excuse me?
Though I think they suck.
I mean, you gonna be a smart man if that happens. I just
Indiana.
I don't know what your Indiana hate is about, but
they didn't cover.
I don't hate Indiana
all year.
I just don't think they're gonna. I don't.
Or
think
your
they're
disbelief,
gonna
your
Michigan,
disbelief
though.
in them. You don't.
No,
believe
they've covered. I mean, Connor Stallions is back on the sideline, so you never know.
Oh, who's sideline?
I mean,
Michigan.
Swear to God.
He was there last weekend.
Oh Lord.
Anyways,
It's back, bro.
Indiana ain't beat nobody yet.
well, we'll see. Of course, we'll see what happens. Big games. UGA going up against Ole Miss in Oxford. Like you said, that's at 3:30, and then we got Alabama going against LSU. That's going to be a good night game. 7:30, 8:30 our time. I'm looking forward to that. We'll see what's going on. We might get some instant reactions because I might.
We got 2 playoff elimination games as far as I'm concerned.
2 playoff elimination games. Is it an elimination game for UGA if they lose?
No, it's not. But you still have to buckle your chin strap.
You do for sure. I'm just wondering. But
no, though. To answer your question,
yeah, I agree. I think we get in regardless. But I think we went out for the rest of the year though. I think we're good. So we'll see. But that's it for us on Saturday Sanctuary. We'll be back on Thursday. More predictions, more bets, and of course we'll be at you guys talking about the Heisman as well. Carson Beck will not be in the conversation. Carlos, it's okay, brother. But we'll go ahead and end it right here. Shout out to everybody tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram at The Saturday Sanctuary. Catch up with us. Luckily, we only got one color from Carlos today because he was running late, but we are here. Hopefully, we don't have any crash outs coming with Evan. I will say look out for Evan crash out coming against Indiana, though, in 2 weeks.
No crash out.
No. I feel like the only way you'll see his man crash out is if they lose to Michigan again.
Carlos is crazy.
I got my hair blockers on. It's tunnel vision.
And on that, we are out of here.
Goodbye.
Hey, Lotus, you look like Benny Boom right now, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Benny Boom is crazy.
All right, bro.
Hell nah.